Let's try this a third time. Hey guys, I'm Ray, and we are streaming blacksmithing. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I was doing good, and apparently I forgot like three things, like all in a row. Alright, I can hear myself now. Hey, mahalo! Welcome to the stream, everybody. So, a couple of things going on today that will be happening during the stream. Well, I hope it's only once, but we have 4 packages arriving today for of like various things for the van. Most of them are like, we have a sheet set, a comforter, some curtains, like blackout curtains for the windows. And then we also have a couple other things that are coming. And so I will need to go and grab those when I see them. Hopefully, it's only one truck bringing all 4 of those items. But unfortunately, they were all sent as like separate packages. We have like 8 packages coming this week. It's kind of incredible. We made a bigger order off of a Wayfair for some furniture stuff because we had a gift card for it. And yeah, each individual item is coming separately in a separate box. So yay! So yeah. Can you repeat that? I had you on mute by accident. Yes, yes. I can totally repeat that. Um, so I had a thing and then I forgot it for a moment, but I've got it again. So on Monday we made ourselves a steak flipper. And so this is the steak flipper. And I was pretty happy with it. And you guys asked me if we could make a full grill set. So I figured that I would do a grill fork and a grill tongs. Well, I was talking to my partner about it last night, and the butler told me that I should do a full grill set and include a spatula too. So I think that's what we're going to do. So today we are going to be starting our grill fork. Our grill fork. Um, So that is today's project. I think Friday's project is actually going to be the spatula because I think that one is going to be the next quickest project. I think the tongs are going to take the longest. So we're going to start those on Monday. And if we don't finish the tongs on Monday, we will continue them on Wednesday. Remember, on Friday of next week, not 2 days from now, but Friday of next week, we will not be streaming because we will be streaming on Saturday instead. We're pushing back the stream one day because I will still be on the road on my way to Ohio a week from Friday. So we will be streaming live from Quad State on Saturday. That is still going to be at 2:30 Eastern time, just like normal stream time. It will actually be 2:30 for me that day though, because I will be in Eastern time zone. So I just figure, we'll just do it anyway at the same time. Shortly we will be doing an ad. Once that ad is done, I'm going to talk about our propane sponsor and start up the forge. So we've got a lot to do today. And I think we've got plenty of time to do it, to make it happen. So thank you all for joining me today. I am super excited. Let's see. I'm figuring that this grill set is actually going to take most of the time between now and Quad State. So we'll start a brand new series of project after Quad State. I think I'm debating whether we're going to be able to do an axe or if we're going to start a different project. I definitely want to make another axe because I promised you guys I'd make one and I haven't yet. Or at least I haven't successfully made one. So, yeah. I got that shipping approximate or annoying on Monday or anxiety on Monday. Waited all day for a freight delivery. Ooh, freight deliveries are always the worst because you have to be there so that you can like direct where it's supposed to go and stuff. That's obnoxious. Uh, I've had a couple of freight deliveries, but nothing like too amazing or like any too big. Mostly it's been like appliances and things like that. So, you know, stuff like my hot water heater, it came from freight. Uh, but other than that, you know, we've actually done a lot of our own, you know, uh, delivery sort of stuff. So, yeah. All right, the ad is over. So, today's propane sponsor is Mahalo. Yay, Mahalo! Mahalo donated enough for 2 propane canisters for my birthday, and I am so grateful. Thank you so much, Mahalo, for your donation. And if you would like to get your name shouted out on the stream, you can donate $25 to my KoFi, and I will shout out your name as a propane sponsor as well. Thank you guys so much. Yay, Mahalo! I hate when they give you a 4 to 6 hour window of delivery time and you have to stay home all that time with waiting for the delivery. I know, especially like when you have to sign it. The other thing is like service people, like, you know, when you get a plumber or something like that, that's always annoying. You know, you wait all day and sometimes they're even later than their window. Exactly, and they're late anyway. Yes, definitely. Always obnoxious. So the other thing, there is one other thing about KoFi that I would like to talk to you guys about. I am considering posting my videos a week early and on KoFi and sending the link to you guys for $1. So you can watch the videos a week earlier than they post on YouTube for $1, and then a week later they'll post on YouTube for free. So I'm kind of like, I don't feel like $1 is a lot. So if that's something that maybe you guys think would be of value to you guys, I can do that. Otherwise, I will come up with something else to give you guys as well. But yeah, I'm not expecting a large number of people to subscribe to KoFi or anything like that. But, you know, it's another thing to add to my repertoire of stuff. And I'm finally to a point where I have enough lead time on my videos that I might be able to start doing that. So if you guys think that's a good idea, let me know. Otherwise, you know, I'll figure out something else and, you know, we'll figure it out together. All right. So now that we know our propane sponsor, I'm going to start the mailbox. Probably, maybe. There we go. Much more better. Super excited to once again be able to use the mailbox since it's so efficient. It's really nifty. You know what? I forgot to clean it out again. There's still a whole bunch of scale in there from the Atlantic 33, so you might get some green flames again. So let's stick this guy in there. start warming it up. So yesterday, I remembered that I needed to get some money so that I could get a new apron, and I got the money, but then I forgot to go get a new apron. So I am still wearing the old one that has a nice hole in it. I don't know. I really need to get a new apron though. The one that I'm looking at is at Lowe's, and it has a crossback, which is really exciting. I love the crossback aprons. I really kind of hate the tie back ones like I have right now. I'm not entirely sure why. I feel like they fit a little bit better, and I don't have to worry about accidentally knotting the ties or like them untying. So I feel like it's a little bit easier to deal with overall. I totally forgot to talk about our steel today. Goodness gracious. So today's steel is a 8-inch long, 5/8 inch piece of square stock, exactly the same as we started with on Monday, and that is 20.32 centimeters in length and 15.88 millimeters in diameter, or I guess in width, height and width. And that's what I've just put in the mailbox. So today we are going to be doing a grill fork. So the first thing that we're going to start doing is drawing out a little hook, like a loop. I want to use a similar design to our steak flipper. So I think I put it over here. Yeah, I did. So we're going to start by making a little curly tail, like a little piggy tail. We're going to make a nice hefty handle with a twist in it. And then we're going to draw out a long, like, I don't know, neck maybe? I don't know what I want to call this. And we'll divide 2 times at the end. So instead of having like a little loop at the end, it's going to be a fork. And I feel like it's going to serve a very similar purpose to the steak flipper. But I mean, I feel like all of them kind of, you know, both the fork and the spatula kind of serve the same purpose or a similar purpose to the steak flipper. So we'll see, whichever is, you know, the most, whichever works the best for your desires, I guess. I do feel like the spatula is probably going to be your best bet for something like hamburger, because the steak flipper, it's just not going to work very well, you know. So, because I mean, you know, you got your burger and it's all like ground beef, so it's going to fall apart. So I think we definitely need a spatula in this set. I love how fast the mailbox heats up, man. I love it. We are already almost at the point where we can start hammering, and that makes me very happy. So this is my thumb brace, or what I've been using as a thumb brace, and but it's nylon, so I gotta kind of take it off. Yeah, spatula is the way to go for burgers and fish, and probably lots of veggies. I mean, I figure between the spatula and like the tongs, you've got most of it covered, you know. I do like the idea of the fork though, because if you use the fork, you can kind of open up your steak and see like if you've got if it's cooked enough, you know. You definitely want to make sure that you've got some pink in there still. I am a medium girl when it comes to steak. How about you guys? What do you guys, or how do you like your steaks? Please don't tell me well done, because that's just a travesty. For sure, fork is great for firm meats. I use tongs for steak. Medium rare. Medium rare for Corwin and medium well for Mahalo. I mean, I can do that. I usually tell, like, when I'm at a restaurant and I'm trying to order a steak, I usually tell them medium well. Mostly because when I get the steak, it's usually lighter than I asked for, and I really like medium, right? And so if I tell them medium well, then there's usually a pretty big amount of pink in there, and if not, it's all right. I'll still eat it. I definitely won't eat it if it's well done, though. I need some juice and some spice on my steak. We have a tendency to put, like steak spices on there, but also a little bit of sriracha, some, pepper and salt and like sometimes lemon pepper, depending on the flavor that we're going for. I don't do a lot of the cooking myself, but the butler cooks for us. I did a lot of cooking when I was working in food service, and I just don't like doing it. So yeah, I get the opposite. Medium rare is sometimes medium. If they overcook it, then that's the only time I use A1. Yeah, sometimes I get burned when I say medium well, and then it's actually well done, and then it's just kind of gross. I try. I don't want to eat it, but I will if that's what's in front of me. All right, let's start our first heat. But before I do that, I am going to start the record function on my tight camera and flip my clips on my wide camera. Just because the last couple streams, I keep forgetting to flip my clips on the wide cam, and it has actually been recording the entirety of the 2 hours, and yes, green fire. The entirety of the 2.5 hours in one clip, and it takes forever to pull down. All right. I missed one. All right, back in the fire. I'm gonna try and keep this really, really hot so it moves really easy. Welcome to the stream, Jet Pinky. Speaking of, I totally forgot to, I forgot a lot of things today. I forgot to pull up my stream activities, or my activity feed. So the reason why I always kill my activity feed on OBS is because I have a really small screen on my laptop, and so it spaces at a premium, and I can't actually start up the start screens and end screens unless I unless I kill it, the activity feed screen. Did the heat cause the thread on your apron to melt? No, that's not actually what happened. At least I don't think it did. Maybe. This dark section here, that happened after I ripped open the apron. But this apron ripped open on my birthday when we were doing the forge welding stream. I was coming around the anvil and the horn got caught in the lacing and ripped it open. I don't know if you guys were able to see it or not, but that's when it happened. And I've just been kind of living with it ever since. I've actually caught it a couple of times, so it's gotten worse over time. I definitely need to fix it. Or, I mean, get a new one. Oh, crud, yeah. So, like I said, there's one at the Lowe's that's near me that I want to get. I just forgot to actually go and get it today. I didn't think about it until like 12:30 my time, and I start streaming at 1:30 my time. So I didn't think that I'd be able to get there and back in an hour and still have everything all set up in time. Safety enhanced apron, yes. So I don't know. I don't even know where this apron came from, to be honest, because the last apron that I bought, I accidentally like burned it like a long time ago. And when I came back out here, I just found one in a plastic bag, and I pulled it out, put it on, and that's been this one. So I don't know where this one came from. Maybe I bought it. Maybe it was here before I got here. I don't know. It was weird though. Mysterious, like appearing aprons. I'm kind of like, I wouldn't mind if another apron mysteriously appeared on some shelf. All right, let's do another heat. All right, back in the fire. Free aprons. Yes. I would like a free apron. You can get some really, really cheapy ones at the Harbor Freight. But they're like this one, they're like the tie back ones. The one I was looking at Lowe's, it's like a $35 one, and it's got the X back. I used to have an X back apron before I found this one, and that's the one that I actually set on fire. When I was welding this guy together, or initially, I kind of burned a hole in it, and then like I just kept wearing it and kept wearing it. But the hole was right next to where the tie attached to the side of the apron, and over time it just ripped off. But I really like to have aprons when I am forging and welding because it saves my clothes. I would love to get a bespoke apron made by a leather worker, but that's like $600, and I just don't use one enough for that. Yeah. So when we went to Missouri, to the Missouri Blacksmith Association conference, there was a leather worker there that specialized in aprons, and he could customize them and all kinds of stuff. They were absolutely gorgeous. I just don't have the money to pay for like a handmade leather apron. I mean, I use my apron all the time, so if I got one, I would use it a lot. I just haven't had the funds to justify it. Now, one thing I do have that a lot of hobbyists don't always have is I have a welding jacket. So this is my welding jacket. It's like a long sleeve thing. You put it on like so. I'm gonna try not to like put it all the way on because I don't want it to, wreck the sound for you guys. But yeah, so jackets. It's a little bit stiff because I don't use it a lot, but it's a really nice thing to have. If you're gonna do a lot of welding, it's really good to have, because if you're spending a lot of time welding, you'll actually start sunburning your skin. So it's not too bad if you're doing like just a little bit of spot welding here and there, maybe a line or two. But if you're doing like an all-day welding thing, you really need to get a jacket. My partner does not like it when I don't weld, or when I don't wear the jacket when I'm welding. But like when it's only a spot or two here and there, and I just need to like go between a spot weld and grinding, I don't like wearing it. It's too much effort. All right, we're gonna do another heat, but before I do that, I think I'm gonna move the camera. We're gonna move it over here just so that we have a differenty angle. More differenty. Goodness gracious. I don't think it's in, no, it's not in shot. Good. All right, let's do another heat. I hear a truck out there. Wonder if that is my packages. Back in the fire. I need to make that pigtail just a little bit longer. Give me just a moment. I'm going to check to see if that is actually our packages. There's a part of me that doesn't think that's it. Nope, no packages, no truck. Alrighty. I guess I still have to wait. Wait for my packages. Slow Michelangelo, thank you so much for that follow. Welcome to the community. I'm waiting for 4 packages, and I really hope they all come at the same time. I mean, it would ideally, they wouldn't come until after the stream is over, but that never happens. Every time I get a package that comes on a day that I'm streaming, it comes during the stream. So I was complaining to the butler about that. And they said that if it comes during the stream, I should make that content. And I think they meant doing an unboxing. But honestly, I don't know that I want to pull the comforter and the sheet set out of the box in here, because it's filthy in here. And I don't want to get metal dust in my brand new sheets and comforter. Shipper Murphy's Law, exactly. So we're purchasing a new sheet set. curtains and a new comforter, some magnets, and something else. I just don't remember exactly what it was. But all of those things are going into our camper van that we are building, so that we can go to blacksmith events and have a nice place to stay and edit and pull down footage that we can have on site. So that's what I'm up to. So it would technically be content if I were to unbox some of that stuff on stream. But like I said, I don't really want to unbox a comforter and sheet set here in the shop when there's like scale and metal shavings everywhere. All right. It looks like there is going to be an ad here shortly. I'm going to do another heat. Hopefully we can get that finished before that commercial starts, and then we can keep on keeping on. I think I want to do one more heat where I'm drawing this out. I think it's just about ready to do that curl, but I want to make sure that everything's a little bit more parallel. Right now we still have a little bit of that widening out towards the base, and from there we're going to round it out and curl it. Looks like I made it by like a whole minute and a half. Sweeping my tongs off the edge of the anvil. So I don't know. We're getting a lot of scale because we're getting a lot of heat from this particular piece. Like I said, the mailbox is incredibly efficient, so it tends to oxidize a little bit more than we're used to with the big forge. So I have to spend a lot of time sweeping off of the face of the anvil. So I've got this like a little timer that pops up on my OBS that kind of tells me that I have an ad incoming in about 5 minutes, right? And then it allows me to like snooze the ad or just allow it to play out, right? But once the timer is over, like the ad doesn't start for another like 30 seconds to a minute. And so I always get really confused when the ads are gonna start. Today is pretty warm. It is not quite as hot as it was on Monday. It's like 87 degrees, so that's Fahrenheit. So I'm probably going to say it's about 31 degrees Celsius-ish. And so it's relatively hot. But I've got my fan going. I guess I just noticed that there's like paint on this hammer and it's kind of starting to come off on this side. That's weird. Sorry, I got distracted. So we are currently on ad time. Ad time, ad time. But that's not too bad. I don't mind the ads. It gives me like a little break so I can breathe. I have a tendency to just not breathe. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I'll just sit here and I will talk and I will continue to exhale and exhale and exhale for forever. And I won't inhale. So ads give me some time to breathe. Once this ad is done, though, I will do another heat. Like I said, we are going to isolate out the material for that little loop that I want on the end of our what am I making? Grill fork. That's what it's called. So yeah, I will be isolating out that little pigtail that we're going to turn it into a little loop so we can hang our grill set on the grill from hooks. So we will be working on that. I guess we're going to do another heat now because the ad is over. All right, let's take the corners off of this. Turning it from a square to an octagon by knocking off all of the corners. And then from there, we can start turning it rounded. All right, we're going to heat that back up and then we're going to turn that into a loop. The handle is so long that if I always like to put my hammer down against the broken part of the plate, but if I miss it and I allow it to hang out, every time I pass by the horn of the anvil, I like knock it off. I think that my post spice is a little too close to the anvil. Let me move that. There we go. That's better. Now I can actually like pass by this way. Exciting, exciting. Morning sandwich or evening? I guess it's evening. I mean, it's not even morning for me. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like afternoon for me, and for most of you guys, it's, you know, either afternoon or evening. Welcome to the stream, sandwich. Welcome to the stream. It's 9:10. 9:10 p.m. That's kind of late. Not too late. My bedtime's about 10 p.m. So 9:10 isn't that bad. I used to go to bed a lot later, like at around midnight. I didn't even do dinner until like 8 when I was younger. But as I've gotten older, I feel like I need more sleep, So I end up going to bed earlier. It's morning somewhere and 5 o'clock somewhere else. That's true as well, you know? Isn't that Jimmy Buffett song? It's 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, let us curl our loop. You know what? It helps when you change your camera view so that it is a little bit, you know, easier for you guys to see. We're going to start by hammering this backwards so that we can center this up. All right, back in the fire we go. As I get my tongs stuck in there. All right, I am going to change the angle on my tight cam. Whoa. It helps when you don't trip on the bottom of the tripod. Alright, is that in the shot? No, it's not. That's exciting. It's close enough to the cart that it's not in shot. So yesterday was a pretty good day. I was very productive yesterday. I spent most of the day editing the Hot Cut Hardy tool, the video for YouTube, and it actually went really quickly, which is a big change from how long it normally takes me to edit a piece. Normally it takes me 2 to 3 days to edit a piece for YouTube, but I was able to manage it in one day. That was pretty impressive. I came up with or I guess I didn't come up. I finally took my partner's advice and wrote myself a script. And then there's this function in the editing software that allows you to make an AI transcript of everything that you say in your video. And so I was able to search for specific keywords, and it allows me to highlight the phrases that I want for the video. And then if I drag them down into my timeline, it creates a video. And so it's like the little cuts and stuff. And it makes it super easy. Oh, the FedEx truck is in my driveway. So I'm not entirely sure how to deal with this. Big Chungus. Greetings. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the community. Hello. Yeah, like I said, the FedEx truck is in my driveway, so they probably are seeing me, you know, I don't know how I feel about that, you know. I don't advertise that I'm a streamer, but I do have my garage door open. Once they get out and grab the packages, I will have to go and pick them up. I don't know where they're going to put them. I hope they don't bring them in here. I don't know. While they decide what they're going to do, I'm going to do my next heat. This is not the right tongs. I don't know what I'm doing. Goodness gracious. I'm distracted. All right. Let's turn this a little bit more rounded. There we go. That's not too bad. That'll work. All right, we're going to flip this around and we're going to start working on this side. So we're going to heat up that side and start turning that into the fork section. It is not only how much sleep you need, but also when you sleep. This is individual, but also changes over your lifetime. I read that one is the latest during puberty. That's why school is 8 a.m. is torture. After that, the time moves back forward. I also recognize that I am not that late anymore, in my 40s. Yeah, I feel like you don't need nearly as much sleep when you're a kid. Or I guess when you're like more like a teen, you know, or in early 20s. And that's the time where you go out and you go out partying and stuff. So you can actually recover a lot easier. But when you start getting old again, all right. So the FedEx truck is pulling out. So I am going to grab my packages and I will be right back, guys. Give me just 1 minute. I love the fact that they're having to drive or to pull out backwards. I hate backing out of my own driveway. It's awful. Oh, wow. Top two are soft, so I'm not going to take those out to the shop. But I've got a couple other packages that maybe we can take out and unbox a little bit. Ow. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm back. I am so sorry for how long that took. A magnet. I missed a thing. Okay, let me catch up with chat real fast. Okay. Here comes the classic, what? You need to speak louder with me, young lady, right? I'm always happy to see an FAQ on a stream. Have fewer questions now than I did, but I do have one about that anvil still. The round that is welded to the side. To me, it almost looks like a magnet. It's a magnet to help kill the ringing that an anvil usually has. Yes, yes, it is. Thank you, Corwin, for answering that. It is a bit unsettling if the last you hear on a stream is Ronk Ow. Okay, makes sense. Then it looked like one, but is it welded or is it just forged scale stuck to the side of it? It is forged scale. See? So all of that is lovely forged scale. And really this is supposed to go over here underneath instead of on the side. That way it'll kill the vibration off of the heel of the anvil a little bit better than when it's on the side of the anvil. I have another one that sits underneath of the horn of the anvil because those, since they jut out of the base of the anvil, they just ring a lot more because there's more resonance there. And that answers that. Yes, yes it does. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, I had to pick up all of my packages. Unfortunately, I can't do any unboxing because the only thing that is not soft and, would be able to be unboxed in here, I have to make an actual unboxing video for. So I'm sorry. I need a little bit more detailed shots, and that would take me a little bit too much time. I need help with that one, so I gotta wait. My anvil definitely rings quite a bit as well. Yes. Ray is strong enough to break the welds with her bare hands. Sometimes I am, but that is mostly when the welds aren't strong enough to hold, you know? All right, I am gonna do another heat. I've got a thick chain wrapped around it to dampen it a bit. Should probably put a larger magnet on it. See, I feel like it's more of a preference thing as far as dampening that ringing sound. All right, so we're gonna isolate a little section off of the end of this anvil. Almost like we are going to be doing a bit of like a tong. But that's really because we are trying to draw out a neck section. We want to isolate a handle section. We want to isolate a handle section that we can do a twist on. And then we want to give ourselves a little bit of length before we get to the tongs of our fork. So this section right here, we're going to build the tongs out of. All of this material, we're going to draw it out to a more thin profile. More heat. Speaking is difficult sometimes. I've got silicone caulk under the base of the anvil kills a lot of the ringing too. Yeah, it really does. I've seen a lot of people do that. The reason I haven't done that here is mostly because I move my anvils around a lot, right? And it is a lot easier to move the anvil with the hoist. I have an engine hoist with like a cloth rope, I guess, that I tend to loop underneath of the heel and the horn. And so I can pick it up and move it wherever I want to. And then it's easier to move the base after that. So I don't really want a permanent seal between my anvil and the base. But if you have an anvil that you don't move, I mean, bolting it to the ground and putting silicone on that, it's gonna work wonders on dampening the sound. I need to grab more water. I'm leaving your guys' view a lot today. I'm sorry. So, I got 5 of the 8 packages today, and I got one of the packages, I think it was no, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before yesterday. It was Monday. After the stream, I got one of my packages. So that means I have 2 packages left. A package of magnets and I think the comforter. None of those boxes was big enough to be a comforter. I'm going to move this camera just so that I can get another good angle. I think I want it in here. There we go. Lots of different angles that you guys can see. Alrighty. So we are going to continue creating or drawing out the next section to kind of lengthen our barbecue fork. The worst thing in the world is burning your knuckles because your cooking utensil is too short. I mean, it's bad enough that when I have, a tool in the blacksmith shop that's too short or I burn my knuckles with. So I need to make sure that this thing is long enough. Ouch. There's another one of those ouches for you, Corwin. That one was scale. The first one was because I wasn't amazingly, I don't have the best depth perception in the world, so I am constantly running into door jams and doorknobs. So when I opened the front door to put the packages in the house, I accidentally smacked my shoulder on the door jamb. A guy I knew was a bit overweight and he managed to burn his belly while grilling. Ooh, that doesn't sound like fun. I can see it happening though. So yeah, I want to make sure that this fork is long enough so that you can be a safe distance away from the grill while you are flipping or, cutting open your steaks or whatever you're making on the grill from a safe distance. That sounds like something that would happen on a sitcom. It does. Setting your apron on fire, because on a sitcom you always, like, the guys always have aprons that say, like, kiss the cook or something on them while they're grilling in a sitcom. It's like there are certain sitcom tropes, that that are always there. If you have a character coming home from the grocery store, there's always a really long baguette in the bag and stuff like that. That's one of them. If you have a character that's grilling, they always have a grill apron on. And it has some kind of weird funny thing on the front. Or Homer Simpson, yes. I managed to burn my big belly while making a mistake with a wok. Ooh, that doesn't sound pleasant. I mean, if you're using a wok, a lot of times there's like oil and other liquids in it. And if you're burning yourself with like the liquids, that would not be pleasant at all. Naked chef. I burned a hole uh, in my hoodie while grinding a hammerhead and not paying attention to the sparks. I've done that too. I've ruined so many hoodies by like soldering or grilling, or I mean, not grilling, but grinding. Man, I had one hoodie when I was in college that I actually spilled pickle on. So pickle is it's like usually citric acid diluted with water, and you put pieces of like semi-precious metal in there that you have already soldered together, and you put it in there to clean it after you've soldered it to get all like the flux and stuff off of it. And it's an acid, so it ate away all of like my pockets from the front of my hoodie. It was awful. I ruined like two that way. Felt something warm and looked down. While we were at it, from a native speaker, what exactly is the difference between grilling and barbecuing? Grilling is a generalized term for all cooking on a grill. So, like, with like the little any outdoor fire-based cooking with a grating on it. And barbecuing, it depends on where you're at. Some people, it's interchangeable, but if you're from Texas, oh, there's a difference. And I'll get into it a little bit more after the ad will start. I guess it's going to start in a minute and a half. The hoodie burn holes. Almost a fashion theme, yes. I call grilling cooking stuff in direct heat. On the grill, hot dogs, burgers, etc. And a barbecue is low temp and slow cooking, smoking on the grill. Yeah, low and slow, direct and indirect heat, usually with smoking elements as well. Yes, if you're in Texas, barbecuing is mostly it's smoking. So you would put it over like coals, and it would be a low, slow heat using wood chips. So not like the coals that you like the charcoal briquettes. These are like actual shavings of wood, and the goal is to retain the flavor of the wood smoke within the barbecue or like the meat, and then you add barbecue sauce, which is like a tangy ketchup with a little bit of vinegar and some spice to it. So that's kind of what it's supposed to be, the difference between grilling and barbecuing. But a lot of people, in the northern Midwest of the United States, they're interchangeable. I grill year-round myself, stubborn like I am. I've even run a grill during a blizzard. My parents are like that. My mom does all of the grilling when I was a kid, and still she does. But yeah, it does not matter what temperature it is. She will grill year round because they don't like to cook their steaks any other way. So they don't pan fry anything if they can get away with it. And so year round grilling. All right, once this ad is over, I'm going to do some drawing out over the anvil, or I mean the horn. Exactly, your mom is the real one. we're gonna go back over here. Any of you guys can still see me, just because, like I said, I'm gonna go over to the horn, and from that particular angle, we're not gonna see anything when I'm going over the horn. So we're gonna change our angle again. We're gonna focus it first. There we go. Let's see if I can get away this direction without tripping over my cord spaghetti. Yeah, we got an ad right now. I think we're at 30 more seconds on that ad, and then I will read. We'll discuss the next few chat comments. Got a good amount of heat. So bright. Big Chungus is from Finland. Oh, I bet it's a lot colder in Finland than it is over here. I'm not such a fan of smoke taste, to be honest. At some restaurants in Sweden, especially in Bulgaria, they put wood whips in an electric or gas grill to create smoke taste. Not for me. I think the worst is there's this restaurant here in the US called Burger King, and their claim to fame is a real smoker taste for their burgers, right? So they have like this tool that they heat up and they sear in lines, so that, I mean, it's made on a griddle, so it's not even like it's actually grilled, but they heat up this like tool and they burn lines in the top, and then they pour like this liquid smoke on the burgers, and so it's supposed to taste smoked, but it tastes nasty. I do not like it at all. All right, we're gonna do another heat. The only piece it should be hot is in the sauna. All right, let's do this. All right, back in the heat. I do want to straighten that out just a little bit. We want to make that neck long. So when BK first started, I believe they actually grilled the patties on a real grill, but that's a long time ago. Yeah, I have thought that I had heard that that's what they did, but they stopped doing that a long time ago. It's all liquid smoke now. Because it's a lot cheaper for them to run a griddle than it is for them to run a coal grill, you know? We have Burger King here too, but I do not think they do it like that here. The meat is transported through some flames on a conveyor, and it does not taste very smoky, I would say. Yeah, I think there are a lot of different things, like regulations, within Europe and other countries that force some of our American brands to function differently than they do here in the United States. I mean, there's a lot of like chemicals and artificial flavors and things like that that are banned overseas that are not here. So they can't They can't make everything exactly the same. Audio went pretty garbled. I'm sorry about that. The two larger American fast food chains known here are McDonald's and Burger King. And which of the two you prefer is like Apple versus Android? Yes. Okay. Do I need to reboot the mic? All right. Sorry about that. There was probably a pop there. So the table I have my laptop in, sometimes it's not big enough to, or so that the like cable that I plug the sound into, it kind of wiggled free a little bit. So hopefully it'll be better. I apologize for those pops. I always blame audio encoders myself. I mean, it could be. I don't know. I just like wiggled it a little bit and it looked like it popped. So it might have just been that it wasn't all the way set in there. Hopefully that helps. All right, we're going to do another heat. Man, I keep looking inside of the mailbox and I feel like I need my other safety glasses because it's so bright in there. All right, back in the heat. We're getting a little bit of length. Whoops, this one. It rather sounded like a digital problem to me, but now it's gone. Yeah, so my audio setup is like these little I don't know. It's this little box, and it has two of these little guys in it, and these are transmitters, and then there's a receiver that you plug into my laptop. And because, or like most of it actually works using magnets, right? But that's a huge problem here in this shop because there's constantly like metal dust just everywhere. So it just collects over time. And I try very hard to clean them off, but it does kind of interfere a little bit with the transmission. So I try my best to clean or keep everything clean, but it sounds like I need to clean them after the stream today. It rather sounded, oh, okay. So I don't know. It might be the transmission between the transmitter and the receiver. It could have been any number of issues. I know for the previous laptop, the laptop had a lot of trouble translating what was being transmitted to it and pumping it through the audio system. This laptop doesn't really have that issue, so I don't know what it was. I might just need to clean it off. All right. We're going to do another heat. All right. We're getting close. Back in the fire. A little bit more drawing out. Lurk, I'm gonna go sort out dinner, but I'll hide in the shadows. Thank you so much for that, Lurk. Welcome to the community. Let's just call it a mic up. Yeah, it's probably a mic up. I do my best with the equipment that I've got, but I only have so much budget to put where into certain places. And I don't really get to decide where I put it. I do get to decide like smaller chunks of the budget, but that's more like project budgets as opposed to equipment budgets. But I think we do all right. We are a lot better than where we started. All right. So we are continuing to draw out the length, I guess, of this particular fork. Once we have the neck all to the size that we want, I am going to start working on the tines. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that chunk on the end and we're going to flatten it out. Then we're only going to flatten it about halfway where we want it to. Then we're going to take it and cut that chunk in half, and we will start drawing out 2 tines so that we've got nice length going. I remember the times where we had audio on one channel only. Yeah. See, I've improved significantly from where we were. I mean, when I first started, we were streaming on a cell phone and we only had one camera. And I mean, it was, when I first started, it was all on camera audio from the phone. So we've grown quite a bit from there. All right, let's do another heat. Yes, I did. Okay, I did the thing. All right, for our next couple of heats, we're gonna focus on this back end over here. It's a little bit wider. I'm pretty well liking this skinnier section here, so I want that to be our guide, and I want it to be all the way back here. This is about as long as I want that handle to be. So this is this area that we're gonna twist. So all of our length is gonna come from this section right here. My anvil is moving. Every time I work either the horn or the heel of the anvil, it starts shimmying back and forth. Bluesy, welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome. Did you finish your teaching for the day? I should totally ask what you were teaching today. What sort of maintenance were you teaching? I have. So I'm not entirely sure why, but okay. So I'm obsessed with TikTok a little bit. You know, you open it up on your phone and then you just like scroll through all of the different videos, and the algorithm will tend to show you videos of things that you watch longer. And I'm not entirely sure when or how this happened, but I was scrolling and there was this video, and it was teaching you about it was a song. It's like a folk song, and it's how to start an F-16. And there's one on there's a couple on a couple different like jet planes, and then there's a couple on helicopters and a couple on tanks. And it's very strange. But they're set to folk music. It's almost like a sea shanty. It's really weird. I keep scrolling through them and they keep showing up. But I can't not watch them. Just basic fuel system maintenance. A folk song in how to start an F-16. Yes. Yeah, it's a folk song, how to start an F-16, and it goes through all of the little switches and dials and stuff that you have to do in order to start and take off in an F-16. So yeah, I have no idea who is posting this, but it's really entertaining. I am definitely not confident in my ability to even sit in the cockpit of something like that, but somebody's sharing it. And after I started watching those videos, I started getting some really good videos on how to make soap and how to make charcoal, how to make salt, how to make gasoline from like garbage. So those are interesting. I've tucked away a few of those, so I can start being a little bit more self-sufficient. Of course, starting an F-16 is a daily business for me, so this would be very helpful. I have no idea where these videos keep coming from, but they're there on the TikToks. So if you're interested, and for legal reasons, I do not condone starting an F-16 unless you are authorized to start said F-16. You have never shown off your workshop jet. What is it? Yeah, I mean, I don't have, I've never shown you guys my workshop, my blacksmithing F-16. Yeah, I don't have one. But yeah, it is so weird. Noted. Yeah, legal reasons. Yeah. I do not condone starting F-16s or Black Hawk helicopters or tanks unless you are authorized to use them. Also, I can't I can't tell you to, you know, start blacksmithing without help. Don't blacksmith on your own because you could injure yourself. You know, that's why I always tell you to find an Avana affiliate because I don't want you guys to get hurt. I would feel bad if you guys started blacksmithing and got hurt. All boxes checked, yes. So yeah, I mean, if you want to start blacksmithing, find a blacksmith to teach you, at least for a little while. But of course, you still have that Learjet parked in your backyard for shopping trips, right? I mean, there is actually a few private jet fields around the St. Louis area that if I did own a jet, I would be able to keep it. There's one about 30 minutes away from me, and there's a couple that are closer to the Lambert Airport. But no, I do not own a plane. You can also take lessons, but I haven't taken the opportunity. They are a little bit expensive to learn to fly a plane. It would be so cool though. Flight lessons. Turbine powered lawnmower. Yes. But yeah, I don't think that I'm, qualified to fly a plane right now. The butler is much more qualified than I am. The butler has actually passed the FAA written test because you have to, in order to become a licensed drone pilot for profit. And the butler works for our local news station, and one of their duties is to fly a drone. So that is always, it's one of those things that's in the butler's wheelhouse. The Blacksmith Club I hang out with is very educational. Several old guys with the most creative and resourceful knowledge, and they're eager to share. Yes. Sandwich says they would be such a bad pilot. See, I don't even know that I could technically be a pilot, because don't you have to have certain eyesight? My eyesight is really screwy. I can't. I'm partially night blind, so I don't have the sight that you need to become an Air Force pilot or anything like that. All right, let's do another heat. Quite a bit of length here. I'm actually pretty happy with that. All right, so for our next heat, I'm going to straighten this out, kind of get it ready to round out. We're not going to round it out just yet. We're going to use those quarters to give ourselves a little bit of strength while we are continuing to make this piece. And we're going to start working on the little tongy section, or not the tongs, the tines. The little forky part. So I'm going to move this camera. Whoa. It's been sitting there for almost a half an hour. Ooh. All right, we're going to go back to our original spot. But a little ways this way. So not amazingly original, but close. And just as a reminder, because we have a few people who weren't here earlier, next week is the week of Quad State. So instead of streaming Friday of next week, I will be streaming on Saturday of next week. That way, we can stream live from Quad State. Okay, cool. I'm good. But yeah, we will. I'll have a. I think we're gonna try to have a few specific people lined up to talk to, and do a little bit of interviewing and stuff like that. And so I need, or it'll take me 6 hours to get from here to Ohio, and that'll be. We won't arrive until after the stream would have started. So we are going to take that afternoon to and evening to kind of set up some stuff for you guys to see. And then on Saturday, we are going to stream at 2:30 Eastern, just like normal. And but it will be live from Quad State. Just too many things to look at or look for in real time for my small brain. What are you most excited about or to learn? Ooh, so there are a few people that I'm really excited to see at Quad State. There is a barrel maker that is coming to demonstrate, and they are from, where are they from? They're on the East Coast. They actually are they work for one of the like historic societies. Which one is it? So yeah, I'm really excited about seeing the barrel making demo. And then there is another demonstrator that is a knife maker. Oh, cool. Yes. So there's a knife maker that specializes in Damascus, like so pattern welded steel. So I'm really excited to see that too. I really love Damascus steel. I'm not a big sharps person, but I love Damascus steel. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I want to do some for the stream, but I've got to get a lot more comfortable with forge welding in general before I even start attempting that. It's a little bit on the expensive side too, especially because steel has become exponentially more expensive over the last few months. So it's something that I have to be completely solid on forge welding before I attempt it. There are a few other demonstrators that I would love to talk to. There is a demonstrator who's going to be doing a window grate with all pass-through connections. So they are slitting and drifting open all of their connections and sliding pieces through and then reclosing them and doing a lot of mortise and tenons. So I'm really interested in that one too. That takes a lot of skill. So I'm really excited about that. And then there are several blacksmiths that are going to be demonstrating during a hands-on event. So there's about 5 of them there, and I would like to talk to at least one of them if we can. I'm not sure that we'll be able to directly talk to any of them during the stream because they'll probably be doing their demonstrations, but the goal is to do an interview with a few of them so that we can put together a YouTube video for you guys to watch. So that is the plan for Quad State. I'm really looking forward to it. We have an ad incoming imminently. So once that ad is done, I am going to start working on the tines of this fork. And it should start actively looking like a fork. And I'm pretty excited about that. I drew a little fork over here. It's got 2 tongs or tines. And I drew a steak, but I drew that steak on Monday. I don't know if you guys can see it. Oh my God, Pete, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. We are on ad time, so I'm not sure if you can actually see that. or hear me, maybe. Maybe that's the correct term. I don't know. I think during ads you can see like a little tiny in the up in the corner, but you can't hear anything. Whew. I'm almost done with my water, and we're in ad time, so I'm wondering if I should just get my water, but I don't know. Maybe I'll wait. Wait a little bit. Ad break ended. Welcome in. Oh my God, Pete. Thanks for joining us today. All right, we're going to do another heat. We are going to start working on the tines of this fork. It's going to be a 2-pronged fork. Is that what I need to be calling them? Prongs? We're going to be working on the prongs? It's probably right. Okay, what direction do I want these? I think I want them this direction. All right. So we've got a kind of a square area. So I want to kind of put a hip on there. I want to isolate that section. Like this side has a little bit of a corner, and I want to add that on that side. And then from there, we're going to slit that so that we can create or separate it and create 2 tines. It is emote time. All the emotes. What do you got? We got a monkey clapping, and we've got the Katamari Damacy guy. We've got a waving fry, a smiley face, and it says hi. Oh, and now we have all of our those are all of our emotes. Why didn't the grinder show up for me? The grinder is just like little, like the text for whatever reason. Weird. All right, waiting for my pan to heat up. I'm trying chicken thighs and roast potato wedges and onion wedges. There it is. We got the grinder showed up this time. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't show up for me. Corwin's did, but yours didn't, Ping. Kind of weird. I think it just didn't load for whatever reason. That sounds delicious. Chicken thighs. I love chicken, but I don't get to eat a lot of it because my partner is the one that cooks, and they can't process tryptophan, which is the chemical that is in bird meat that makes you sleepy if you eat lots and lots of it. So it's like lactose intolerancy, but for bird meat. So I only really get like chicken when we go out to eat as opposed to eating in. We end up eating a lot of hamburger, a lot of beef, a lot of pork, but not a lot of chicken. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's one of those things that not a lot of people has, and so not a lot of people know about that allergy or, intolerance. straighten this up a little bit. We're having a little bit of issue there for whatever reason. Much mo better. Which is not proper English for English as a second language speakers. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is I am going to take the angle grinder and we're gonna split this. So I'm gonna put this, grab it. I'm gonna do that. Like so. Then I'm gonna turn this way. This can go over there. I think as long as you have enough veggies and starches, then red meat really isn't an issue. I'm trying to rather move from red meat to birds. They say too much red meat, pork, beef, and such is not that healthy. Yeah, it kind of isn't, depending on like the person, because a lot of times dietary regulations and restrictions are kind of, you know, on a person by person kind of case, or I guess a case by case basis. But if you are paying attention and making sure that you get all of the proper nutrition that you need, it can be all right. Alrighty. Let's see. Do I have the proper thingies? I do. For once in my life, I do. Alright. So, 1 second here. Stay. You don't want to stay, do you? All right. Hey, Yankee, welcome to the stream. We are separating the tongues of our grill fork today. Right now. All right. That should work beautifully. Put this over here. And then what I'm going to do so that's kind of what we've got. We have separated the sides. And we're going to turn those into prongs. Ugh. Itchy. Ooh, it smells like a grinder. It's always pleasant when I am grinding things using the angle grinder that are already hot, because, you know, when things with the angle grinder get hot on their own, like they have a distinct smell. Like if you use the angle grinder too long, well, when you're grinding things that are too hot or that are already hot, you get that automatically, like from the get-go. All right, we're gonna use this. All righty. And okay, cool. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to separate these tines. I'm going to try and do it here on the anvil, but we might end up having to do it over on the over here, because we've already drawn out the neck of this fork, so it's a little bit thinner, and we may end up bending that neck or before we end up bending the tines out of the way. So we're gonna do what we can at the anvil, and otherwise we will go over to the press. But the idea is that we've got two tines that are really close together, so we need to kind of move one out of the way. So it's kind of like that. That way we can start drawing out both of the tines equally. Could you make that fork tine split with the Hot Cut Hardy tool? Yes, yes, you could. In fact, a lot of people do. The reason I did not is because I had already drawn out that neck at the length and thinness that it is. It would not have worked very well for me. If I had created the tines before I created the length on that neck, it would have worked beautifully. Or if I'd have done it at the halfway mark. But I wanted to get the neck drawn out as long as I wanted it to before I started working on those tines, because the longer and skinnier those tines are, the easier they are to like bend and break, and that should be the smallest point of our barbecue fork. So I want to always make sure that the skinniest points are like the last things that we do. All right, I need to get some more water. So if I had actually been doing this like completely correctly, I probably would have made these tongs and drawn them out or at the halfway mark when I was doing the neck, and then I would have drawn the tines out to their halfway mark, finished the neck, and then gone after the tines. So that is the proper order to do things, but I have a tendency to do, this step, then the next step, then the next step, and I don't always like remember that I need to do a half of a step before I do a second half of a step. So I might have given myself a lot of trouble by doing it this way, but we're gonna see how well it works. Like I said, if I can't do it on the edge of the anvil, I will definitely be able to do it over on the vise. So we're going to hammer one of the tines over the edge of the anvil. And if I can't make that work, we're going to go over to the post vise. We are going to clamp right underneath of the tines, and then I will continue bending the tine out of the way over there. To give you kind of an idea of what's going on. All right, seems to be working pretty well. If you see that, we've kind of got the tines worked out a little bit. A little bit longer. All right, so we should be able to start drawing those tines out now. We want to make sure that the transition between the two is a little bit, you know, it's a nice transition, but we're going to wait a little bit until we've got these two drawn out a little more for that. Then we'll clean up that center area. It worked better than I thought it would. That's pretty exciting, actually. So yeah, now we get to thin out the tines. I want to make them really long so that you've got plenty of space to kind of poke your meat with. I feel like you could make a joke there. Poke your meat. I'll leave that for you guys. So we should get this guy done in time. During our regularly scheduled stream, we've got about a half an hour left. So I think that should be pretty good. Or a good amount of time to finish out those tines and also do our twist. So it might take us a little bit of extra time. I don't know. I'll try to make sure that we're done on time. That way you guys aren't staying up too late. But yeah, so on Friday, I think we're going to do the spatula. That one's going to be an interesting one because for the last two pieces of this barbecue set or the grill set, we've actually used the 20.32 centimeter long sticks, the 8-inch long sticks. So for the spatula, we're actually going to use a 10-inch long stick. So add, I guess, another 3 or 4 centimeters to the length, because what we're going to end up starting at the very beginning of the stream is we are going to heat up the end, the last 4 inches, and we're going to upset it so that it's 2 inches. We want to make sure that we widen that last bit out so that we can make a really nice wide spatula. I don't think that's PG. I don't think it is either. If you make the fork tines long enough, it could double as a wiener roaster. I mean, I feel like a lot of good barbecue forks could double as wiener roasters, you know? That is the goal, is to lengthen them out as much as possible. So it'll be really nice and thin and long so that we can use it for weenie roasting. But yes, not a PG joke. You know, the touching the, or, you know, poking the meat. But, you know, we're not too PG. Want a great wiener roaster? Get a stick. Yeah, you got to kind of take the bark off of the end of the stick and kind of clean it up a little bit, that, you know, so you don't got the germs and, you know, bug goo. But yeah, a stick makes a really good weenie roaster. But I mean, I feel like most tools, or a lot of tools, can be made with just sticks and rocks, you know? Blacksmithing just makes fancy tools, right? Fancy, fancy. All right, I'm gonna start working on these tines. So we can definitely see that it's growing. It's growing quite a bit. So we've got a couple more heats left on this tine and a few more heats left on that one. We're gonna make them nice and wide and long. We are gonna start having a little bit of trouble getting this in the mailbox though. So I think what's going to happen is I might actually, when we start getting one of the tongs really long while we still have them like this, what I think I might do is kind of bend it a little bit, or maybe bend it backwards this way. That way it kind of fits in the forge a little bit easier. Eventually we want the tines to be bent like this, right? So right now they're kind of like in an okay, or an okay sign. We want them like a peace sign eventually. I gotta be careful about using my fingers like that, because here in the US the middle finger can cause a rude gesture. We're getting there. We're getting pretty close. I guess that gesture is pretty international. If you don't want to be, or you don't want to be fingering the wrong thing. Yes. I do not want to make rude gestures because we've got an international audience here at Ray Smithy, so I want to make sure that I am not inadvertently making rude gestures and things. Smiles and flashes the reverse B. I'm sorry. Yes, right? That's the rude gesture. Is it? It could be. I think there are several. All right. I'm going to do another heat. Where I grew up, there were a lot of gang signs that could accidentally be thrown up. Same here. Same here. All right, so that one's pretty thin. I'm gonna start working on this side now. I do want to thin this out a little bit further, but before I do that, I want to work on this guy. See if I can get this in the mailbox. I cannot, actually. Hopefully we can bend this without breaking it. There we go. That's better. Yes, it's way older and the precursor to the middle finger. It came from the English longbowmen. Yeah, isn't it because they were gesturing that they have their like draw fingers? If I remember correctly, there was a punishment for your enemy archers where you would chop off their pointer and middle finger so that they could no longer draw a bow. I don't know that for sure. I think that is just something that I heard somewhere. I mean, it could be true, but I don't know for sure. Indeed. Okay, I did hear correctly. But yeah, archers were very deadly in battle. So we are going to be getting an ad here shortly. Once that ad is done, I'm going to start working on the other tine for this grill fork. Like I said, we are going to try and get them really nice and long and thin. But I don't want to thin them completely out until we have both of them about where we want them. And then we will spend a little bit of time sharpening them, I guess. Sharpening and lengthening. That way they, can pick up meat and move it around a lot easier. Dr. Optimal, like spaghetti or like angel hair pasta? I think that I want them probably more spaghetti than angel hair pasta, because if we get angel hair pasta, we might end up breaking the tines off in the forge. The smaller the steel, the easier it is to crack and create cold shuts. I'm trying to use the same terminology that other content or blacksmith content creators use. There is, as opposed to the version of that word that I learned when I was blacksmithing. Is that flame actually a green, or is that my monitor? It is actually green. So a while back, we used a type of metal called Atlantic 33, and it has a lot of manganese in it, and manganese burns green. But I think there's an ad going, so I don't think anybody can hear me except for my subscribers like Corwin and Ping and Hollow. I have a couple more subscribers though. Oh, speaking of subscribers, I actually was able to change the, oh wait, no I wasn't. Oh, you heard me. You heard me. The Bluesy hears me. That's good. Da-da. I have a thing. I have an exciting thing. We're gonna do that and then that. But we are gonna save it. Awesome. Worth a sub. Yay! I hope it's worth a sub. I appreciate you guys. I work very hard to try and make this stream exciting and worthy of your attention and your support. So yes, the flame is green. The reason it is green is because there's some manganese contamination inside of the mailbox. We used a specialty steel called Atlantic 33, and there's a bunch of manganese in that particular alloy, and I keep forgetting to clean it out. I need to just like pick it up and dump out all of the scale that's in there, because there's scale. It's basically there's like hot rust in there that keeps heating up and it burns over time, and it gets smaller and smaller, and I just need to dump it out. But the outside of it is really hot right after I turn off the flame. So by the time I remember, when I think about it, I can't do it because I can't touch it. It's too hot. But then by the time it's cool enough, I forget. I remembered immediately after I started the mailbox today, but I had already started it, so I didn't really want to dump it. There's definitely a difference at work on Ray these days and non-Ray days. The Ray days go faster and are more enjoyable. Well, that's exciting. I was thinking copper, but looking at it, it's not the blue-green of copper. It's more pure green. I didn't know manganese made a green flame. Yeah, it's a lesser-known green flame material. But we looked up the ingredients of Atlantic 33, and then we looked up all of the colors that they burn, and it was the manganese. Yeah. All right, we're going to do our next heat on the tines. Kind of even them out. We've got a fat one and a skinny one. I want 2 skinny ones. All right. See about moving that out of the way. Getting there. I want to make sure that I do not break that. Gracious. All right, I'm going to put it in like so, or maybe not. There we go. So I put it in there a little bit differently. It's kind of only the tong is in there, or the tine is in there. We'll see how well it heats. It'll probably take a little bit longer than it has been to heat, but we've got 2 really long ones, and I can't stick it in the forge properly anymore. So once we're done with these tines, we are going to twist the handle. So what do you guys think? Am I going to remember the lessons that I had or that I learned from our steak flipper, or will I forget and screw it up? Hey, Jack. Do you use the larger forge, or is that for special projects? I do often use the larger forge. However, this particular project, it should have fit really nicely in the small forge, and it's a lot more efficient. I get a lot more time out of the gas that I use. So we will be using the large forge on Friday for the spatula. After we do the upsetting for the like the flipper part of it. So we're gonna take the 4 inches and turn it into 2 inches so that we've got a lot of width going, and we'll be able to get a little bit of length from that as well. Boo, remembering and adjusting. Yay, redoing it. Oopsies. I know, right? I know. One of these days, though, you know? All right, we've got plenty of heat now. I'm going to do some more tines. All right, we're getting there. They're almost the same length, not quite. See if I can make it a little bit easier to get both of these in there. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Haha, I got them in there. That's exciting. Super exciting. I just got to remember to not use every single ounce of my heat or every single little, degree of my heat. I need to retain enough heat that I am not nervous closing them so that, because they might break. Fork tines, fork tines. So once we get these tines done, we're gonna do the twist. Not this twist. This twist. And then from there, we'll probably end this stream. We'll rate off. So I think we've got about half an hour. We will probably go a little bit long today, just because I want to make sure that I finish the full project. And I think that the tines are going to take a couple more heats. And I definitely think that I'm going to need 2 heats for the handle for twisting it. At least. Maybe 3, depending on if I screw it up. All right, let's do some more tine work. I'm gonna try my best to get it a little bit, a little bit quicker. Not bad. I think we're gonna try and start shaping these a little bit now. You can kind of see that this one is in too much. We're going to grab a little bit more heat, and then we're going to shape these a little bit better. We kind of got a weird twist going and a weird bend. Come on, let's twist again like we did last summer. Let's twist again. Exactly, Bluesy. 2.35. Is that a rating? I'm not that good at dancing, you know. I forgot I wanted to kind of round out the neck of this piece. The tines will probably be squared off, but I definitely want the neck to be rounded, and I forgot to do that, so that'll take another extra heat. The twist is easy. Oh, no, that's how many heats I'll need. Oh, 2.35. See, I feel like I'll need way more than that. I don't know. The twist is kind of easy, but, you know, I'm a white American. White Americans aren't supposed to be able to dance. All right, we're going to do these tines some more. I'm going to start doing my heats a little bit quicker, just so that we can get through this. I'm going to do this. Got a weird twist right there. All right. Pretty happy with those tines. Those should be all right. So I'm going to address this neck area. I'm going to round that out, see if I can't fix this weird twist. And then from there, we're going to turn it over, and we are going to deliberately twist this handle. Apparently you haven't seen any movies from the 1940s then. Lots of dancing in those. Yeah. I can't dance. I can't talk. Only thing about me is the way I walk. If they were just slightly wider, they could double as beer can grabbers. I'm a Black American and I can't dance. See, I mean, stereotypes aren't always true, but, you know, I'm not going to claim I can dance. Definitely not going to claim I can dance. Try stopping me. Heavy Hands Forge, welcome to the stream. Hello. You made it. I can't dance, but I do sometimes anyway, right? It's kind of one of those things where you go certain places, and even if you can't dance, you try anyway. Like wedding receptions, you know, you get out there on the floor for the really easy dances, like the electric slide and, you know, all of the different line dances. Because then, you know, everybody's doing the same moves, so you just copy everybody else. And then, you know, when you can't copy people, then people just like, you know, flail around. That must be how it works, right? I break lots of stereotypes. Cha-cha slide. Yes, the cha-cha slide. The Macarena, you know, this one. Yeah, yeah. All the easy dances. All right, let's do another heat. Woohoo! Look at that. Bright, bright. And we are rounding out the neck of this lovely barbecue pork. I stole your project, Heavy Hands. All right, that's not too terrible. Definitely needs some cleanup, but not too bad. All right, we're gonna turn this guy around and heat up the handle so we can do a nice twist on it. Change some tongs. The ketchup song. I don't think I've ever heard of the ketchup song. And Heavy Hand says fine with me. Well, that's good. There is a couple things that or other than the twist that I could do to clean up this particular piece, but I think I'm just gonna do it with, like, you know, the grinder and the wire wheel, because I'm lazy. Did you start with flat stock or round? I started with square stock. I started it with an 8-inch long rod of 5/8 inch square stock. And for those of you in the European, you know, or I guess in the rest of the world, I'm not going to presume, that is 20.32 centimeters long and 15.88 millimeters for its height and width. Yeah, I should not presume that you're all from the European Union or, you know, the US. I have viewers from all over the world. For those of us in the civilized world. Exactly. Exactly. You know, all us over here in the United States frontier land. I'm sure you will know that song. Is it like 99 Luftballons? I think that's the only song I know that's in German. However, given the age of blacksmithing, one should really be using cubits and spans of other such measurements, right? See, I feel like my imperial standard measurements are more correct. No, they're measurements are measurements. You use what stock's available in? At least I do. I kind of know Du Hast. That song is in English, Spanish, and gibberish, not German. Oh, okay. I am not familiar with it. Maybe I am and I don't know it. Rammstein. Yeah, I think that's what that is. The Du Hast song. I have heard some like death metal, but I don't go out of my way. When I am actively looking for music, I tend to go for bubbly pop and techno. I know, it's kind of weird. I will also look for some classical music though, you know? I like anything with a really strong rhythm, like drums and bass. Hey, at least I did not go for Phenomena. The space boy or the spaceman from Electric Callboy. Interesting. I feel like techno with the flashing lights would go well with you while you forge. See, I really enjoy like the techno because it does have such a heavy bass line with your, your bass and your drums. And the specific genre of techno that I really like to listen to is actually, it's like trance, right? So the computer noises are very soothing and long, and they don't change the chords very frequently, so you get very melodramatic, no, melodic, and it helps my brain focus. Francesco, thank you so much for that subscription. It's a Prime sub. Thank you so much. Alan Naxid, thank you so much for your follow. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate all of you. Welcome to the community. Thank you so much. All right. I am going to move the camera so you guys can see me twist this thing. Oh, and I should have done that already because you know what? My camera, it has already changed. Or I mean, it turned itself off. It's what it does when I don't do when I don't update my clip enough. There we go. Much more better. Okay. All right. You guys can now guess if I'm going to do this right or not. Hey, technically Rammstein started out as a techno band, did they? I had no idea. You would rock that job, but you are more old-fashioned. You prefer to twist. Du Hast has a strong drum and bass. I mean, there are a lot. I really enjoy like the soothing stuff. All right, we are going to do that twist now. Let's see. Yes. Okay, there we go. Or at least I'm going to try to do the twist. You know what? You know what, guys? I am going to attempt to set up this twist. All right, that should work. My twisting bars are set up before I pulled the piece out of the forge. Do. There's that. All right, let's see if we can do this. Whoops. Guys, I've done it again. I've screwed this up. Kind of. Ow! Not completely, but partially. Alrighty. I think we're going to heat it up again just so that I can get one little like quarter twist left. It's not quite as well as I want it to be. So we're gonna do one more quarter twist on that. Which means I am going to snooze this ad. Wait, did I? It has already been snoozed 3 times. Okay, I apparently cannot snooze this ad, apparently. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if I snoozed it or if you guys did, or maybe it hasn't reset. Did you change the propane bottle yet? I changed the propane bottle at the very beginning of the stream. So this guy is super, super, like, efficient. So I could do an entire week on this bottle because it's a brand new bottle. It is sponsored by Mahalo this week. Mahalo donated to my KoFi enough for 2 bottles of propane on my birthday in August last month. Last month. So thank you, Mahalo. Rammstein is rather controversial, meanwhile. I'm not entirely sure. I don't follow Rammstein. All right, we got an ad coming up in about 30 seconds. When that ad is done, we'll do our last quarter twist, and then we're going to take it over here and see if I can't straighten it out. It's starting to kind of curl a little bit. I might, do a little bit on cleaning up in between the 2 tines. In that central section, we might clean that up, just, that way you guys don't have to immediately, there's only one heat after the ad or whatever. Rammstein, not so much. Till Lindemann is. Oh, okay. A specific person in Rammstein is the problematic one. I mean, I feel like that is kind of typical for a lot of different artists. Anyway, I'm off to bed. Good night. Night, Bluesy. Sleep well. Thanks for joining. Especially him, but depending on whom you ask, people would also be unhappy about the whole band. I see. I do not know. Push that in there a little bit further. Mostly because the area I want to twist isn't as hot as the rest of the area. Not problematic, just pushing the boundaries. I see. So we got a couple heats. I'll probably do 2 heats after, or 2 more heats after this ad, just because I really hate, I hate it when you guys have to watch an ad and like I do 1 heat and then immediately re-rig off. So I think we're going to do 2 heats. We're going to do one where we do that half twist, and then the other we are going to turn it around and kind of clean up the center area of the tines. Yeah, that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. All right, I need to grab my other tongs. My other tongs, my other tongs. That can go there for now. Okay, looks like the ad break is apparently over. All right, let's see if we can do this. I forgot to change the cameras. That's much better. That's what I wanted to see. Much cleaner twist. All right. Now we're going to take it over to the anvil. And straighten her out a bit. That's what I like to see. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right. We're going to turn it around and work on the center. We're going to clean up this area a little bit over here on the horn. Can I touch it? Scripter Syntax, welcome to the stream. I mean, I'm not going to stop you because I'm not your mom. But if you touch it, it's not going to be pleasant, and I don't recommend it. So I definitely, I would probably ask that you not, but I'm not going to force it on you. You can choose to burn yourself if you'd like. Depends on how much you value your skin, yes. There were some scandals. Women claim to have been lured into, okay. That is kind of problematic. I can see why people might have an issue. But yeah, not recommended to touch the hot metal. Even a minor brush will cause quite a bad burn. You can do almost anything once. Yes. Definitely not a good idea, though. Definitely not a good idea. All right. I'm going to move my camera one more time. Oh, you know what? Instead of moving it over there, since I'm going to be working on the horn, let's come over here. Might as well, right? And that's not in. Okay, cool. All right, let's do another heat. Oh, wrong tongs. What'd I do with my other tongs? I'm a smart lady. I put them away, like, you know, because of reasons. I thought I was putting away the other tongs, guys. I thought I was putting away the other tongs. And here I am not using the horn like I said I was. I'm sorry, guys. All right. One more heat, guys. I'm going to bend it so that it's a little bit easier to work. So that it's a little scoopier. If you want a brand like Kettle, but yeah, not recommended. It's called Learning by Dying. I wonder who the genuine person was that invented the anvil. It's such a versatile tool for blacksmithing. I wonder what they did before they had anvils. So, if you've ever seen, so you should Google Viking anvils. That's pretty much what they had before they had anvils. So it's basically a square brick of steel that kind of has a spike at the end of it. And then you hammer it into a stump. And that is your anvil. It's about yay big in profile with this, not including the spike. Some of the fancier ones actually did have horns on them. They're very small. Usually they're about yay big and about yay thick. But I mean, there have always been anvils. This design is a very common, more modern design, but you know, there have always been anvils. And even if there aren't anvils like we think about them, you know, they're large chunks of steel, right? You don't need a anvil shaped object. You can forge on just a chunk of steel. Alrighty, last heat. Not too bad. Alrighty. I think that's all she wrote for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I have had so much fun, you guys. If there's anybody you guys would like to raid, please do let me know. Otherwise, we will find a friend. Go. Or I could drop it on the ground. That's great too, guys. I do that a lot, you know. There we go. I'm gonna drop it on the ground again, guys. You know what? Oh well. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. Had fun lurking in the rafters. Felt nice to just listen to the Ring of Steel as I was cooking. That's awesome. Just testing its toughness. Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to pull up the outro screen. I just got this thing updated, and now I get to update it again. That's exciting. What just happened? Transition. Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Apparently it's not gonna work. I keep doing this. Or it keeps doing this. I'm sorry, guys. I have no idea what is happening. How about that? How about that, guys? How about that? Okay. Who do we got? Who do we got? Sorry about that mix-up. This stupid video has been giving me all kinds of shit. Alright, who is around? Let's raid Mr. Boombody. We haven't raided them in a while. Alright, guys. I got my stuff together. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I had so much fun. I will be back on Friday, and we will be doing a spatula. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye. I don't want you there. I want you out. Enlarge.